Yes, Biko was killed in detention in a city called Pretoria. He had been detained while traveling with a colleague, Peter Jones. They were stopped at a roadblock, arrested, held separately, and tortured every day of their detention. At some point, Biko was thrown in a police van, naked, which traveled in the night for more than 1,000 kilometers. On the 12th of September 1977, the white knee on his neck finally killed Biko. On the 25th of September 1977, Black South Africa was gathered in this town to bid Biko farewell. A dignified funeral service was held on an open field under an African sky. We then marched to place his remains in this grave. Peter Jones is still alive. He lives with his family in the city of Cape Town, his home. Peter had endured all these years a pain and an unending trauma on losing somebody so dear under those circumstances. Their trip was a memorable journey. They had worked together for a long time and would enjoy life together. They planned together all the time and carried out those plans together. In this trip, they were having intimate discussions on a number of issues. This was an important time for Peter, for he was able to take note of how the experiences of working with communities were changing Biko. It was clear this was no longer a young student who was active and who was writing. Here was a matured man who had grasped the greatness of his time. To be in a police cell as it was with Peter Jones, being interrogated and tortured all the time, knowing that your colleague is also experiencing the same, was in itself very, very disturbing for Peter. Love possesses a certain sense of protection for the one you love. Yet both of them were not able to protect each other. I remember a story told to me by another associate of Biko, Bokwe Mafuna, when he and two other leaders of the Black Consciousness Movement were arrested with Biko in 1973. While telling about this event, Bokwe Mafuna said something that I will never forget. He spoke openly how much he felt intimidated by the security police at the Warmer police station in Port Elizabeth, where they were being served with papers for their burning orders. For him, that was the moment that they had been expecting. And since it had arrived, something sinister was about to happen. Gripped by fear, Bokwe Mafuna was surprised to see Biko being so brave in front of those police. Biko was warning the police that if they dare beat up his friends, they will get it too. Not only was this amazing for Bokwe Mafuna, it caused a bitter pain when it was revealed that 4 years down the line, Biko would be tortured at the same police station, and this time the torture would lead to his death. As he told this story, Mafuna could not hold his tears back. He was exiled in France at the time of Biko's death, too far from the family of his friend. Let's go back to Peter Jones. I want you to imagine yourself seated in a prison cell and suddenly hearing from the corridors of the prison that the new detainees who were coming in were caught at the funeral of your friend, the person you were traveling with, the one you were arrested with. This was devastating for Peter Jones. To this day, our brother Peter is living with that gaping wound. We wish him to be well and to be strong. He is not a personal pain, but a national wound.
For me, history is history because it has people. History is created by people, and in its telling, it must retain people. It must be peopled. I don't believe in a story that where people have been cut out or where one huge big man is the center of everything. For me, Biko was this man who represented a generation of another equally men and women of his time. And that's why his story has to have the visibility of men who acted with and along him.